So again, welcome everyone. I want to go ahead and get started. I told the public this would be open, but for some reason we're having technical difficulties, and sometimes that happens. So we're just going to keep it moving. So again, welcome. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So welcome to the Wednesday group coaching session. Obviously, this is me right here, my hoodie on. Super excited to have you all here. And we got started a little bit later at 7:10. And tonight's session was going to be a little bit different. We're going to invite the public, but that's going to sort of change. Maybe some of them will come in as we continue this session and moving it forward as well. So today, what I really want to talk about is, what's happening, right, with the current events. And, a lot of people have been asking me, should I be selling? Is it's insensitive, to be selling at this time and so forth. And, my big thing is, as we progress, whether it's what's happening right now or if something else happens, we should always, be doing, three things precisely in our business. First thing is we need to be clear. So whether we're on social media, whether that's how people find our business, whether people find our business by landing on our website, right? We need to be clear, and people are looking for people who are clear so they can help them out. So this is a perfect time, as you have time on your hands, to go through and start going through your social handles, right? Start going through your website, start taking inventory and saying, okay, am I as clear as possible? Am I guiding people no matter where they land, whether it's on my Instagram, on my Facebook, on my website? Am I being clear? The second thing is, am I providing value, right? People are looking for people who are doing more, especially during this time. Are you doing more in your business, right? Are you engaging with your customers even more and providing more value as well? And one way you could do that if you are on Instagram is creating stories, right? Going live on Instagram and repurposing that content into different highlights, right? That you could then share that link with your audience via email. And so providing value, again, now more than ever, provide value. So whether you're a product-based business, how to use your product, tutorials around your product, what your product goes well with, right? Whether you're a service-based business, here are testimonials, here are case studies that we've created. Using this time now to really, create this central location where you have reviews that you could tap into. You're reaching out to people to get testimonials for your product or service-based business, right? You're creating content around this time. You're taking time to go through your email sequences and making sure that it provides value and people are converting as well. And then the other thing is continue creating content, right? Continue testing and creating dope content. And you could showcase this on your feed. You could showcase this via video and emailing your list and allowing them to engage with your content that way as well, right? So now is not the time to sort of retreat and start thinking, okay, maybe I should wait. Well, how long are you going to be waiting for? Last week, they said it'll be gone by the end of this month, right? Like things will change. So we should always just be proactive in general, right? We're running a business to generate sales, and our business that we're running is online. As you can see in your local neighborhoods, right, businesses are being affected. And sometimes it is even that online business, but everyone is trying to figure out, well, what do I do? Do I have the skill, right, to be online, right? Do I have the skill to sell via online? Do I have the skill to sell via on social and so forth, right? So continue to, be clear, provide value, and create dope content. And most importantly, there's anything you get from the session here is do not be afraid to sell during these times, right? Do not be afraid to sell. People are looking for your product, your service, your expertise, your skill during this time. And if you're not selling, how are they going to find it? How are they going to better themselves out of their current situation and future situations? Everyone is thinking, okay, how do I get control, right? How do I be in control? How do I get in the driver's seat? So do not be afraid to sell during these times. And if you need permission, tell them Abu sent you, send them my Instagram. Don't give them my number now, but send them my Instagram. And, if you need that permission, right? Let them know I told you to continue selling. Does that make sense? Give me a 3 in the chat if you follow. Does that make sense? Awesome, awesome. The other thing I want to talk about, and let me just jump in here. Wow, big fat 3. Always be coaching. The other thing I want to talk about is strategy, right? So there's a lot going on, and the 2 biggest thing that you should be focused on in your business currently is leads or sales. I'm either getting leads, meaning I'm either getting subscribers and I'm going to nurture those leads, or I'm either driving people directly to buy, right? I'm either driving them directly to my product page, right? Product number 1, product number 7, product number 10, right? To buy. And I'm retargeting everybody, right? Whether you're a lead, right? Or whether you are in the process of buying, you're still a prospect, right? I'm either trying to do 2 things, leads or sales. And so when we think about it, right, from a service side, right, when we're a service-based business or coaching or courses, right, we have an ad and we're driving people to our opt-in, and then we have our thank you page, right? So if I'm running a course, let's say a webinar, I'm sending people to an opt-in page to opt in for this webinar, and then they reach the thank you page. Hey, thank you for registering for this webinar. And this is how most of you have ended up in this program, right? You went through an opt-in page, which then led you to a thank you page. And then you got bombarded with different email sequences. And these are what I call nurturing sequences. And then if you watch the webinar, it sent you to the sales page. But if you didn't go to the sales page, guess what? There was an ad waiting for you. And this ad was waiting for you to drive you back to the sales page. And then there was an ad waiting for you. And this ad was waiting for you to drop you back to the checkout page to convert you into a customer. And so this is driving leads, and it's also, again, driving sales. And this could be different, right? It could be scheduling the call. Maybe our ad is to nurture people. Maybe it's a video series. And then that video series call to action is, hey, schedule a call, right? Schedule a call if you're interested in these type of services. And from that call, right, they reach the thank you page. Hey, looking forward to the call. Here's what you should know. Here's some free resources. Don't forget to set your calendar for that time. And the same thing, what we're trying to do is either close the sale, right, on the phone by sending them to a checkout page, but we have ads going and retargeting that individual. Does that make sense how you would utilize lead generation for a service business, whether you're a coach, a consultant, or providing a service? Give me a 2 in the chat if that makes sense. Now, when we think about products, right? When we think about, well, Blue, I'm a product-based business, what should I be doing, right? So when you're a product-based business, and I'm talking about physical products, right? I'm talking about physical products and even sometimes digital products, if you're not going through the lead generation phase, right? You're just going through digital products. You want to run an ad, and this ad is probably either sending people to your website or your collections page, right? Here's a collection of my product. And then they go to their product, right? So this is a funnel, right? People go to your website, they go to the product, they add the product to the cart, and they check out, meaning that, now they're starting to put in their cart information and they become a customer. So when we start looking at this, right? When we start looking at this funnel, first we build out the basic foundation, right? We build out the basic foundation of website, product, add to cart, initiate checkout, and customer. And then we go ahead and start implementing where do the ads belong. So we put an ad to drive people to the website or the collections page. If we wanted to, we could just skip this and send an ad directly to the product page. Maybe we're running an ad directly to the product page, forget the website. I have a product that sells, or here's my most reviewed product, or here's my most popular product. I'm sending an ad directly to that page. And now I'm retargeting. If someone leaves that product page, they're going to get a retargeting ad. If someone goes to add to cart and they leave, they get a retargeting ad, and they also get these abandoned cart sequences. And you should have 3 abandoned cart sequences set up, right, to try to get that customer to convert. And then we have our checkout page. And then if they leave the checkout page, we have an ad running to the checkout page, right? So no matter where people are, all we have to do is get them started in our journey. And then every step of the way, we have an ad ready to retarget that customer to push them further along the journey. Does that make sense? Give me a 4 in the chat if that makes sense.
Gotta make a 4.
Awesome. Again, if you're just joining us, I know a bunch of people is joining. Go ahead and mute yourself if you're just joining us. Nicole, what we forgot to do is upgrade, because right now we're at that 100 capacity max. Yeah. And listen, it's life. So again, if you're just joining us, was someone saying something?
It's Brooke. Is that something I can do in the back end real quick?
Yeah, you could test that out, Brooke.
All right.
Awesome. So Varick is asking about content, right? What about the content suggested for each stage? And so this is a really good question. So if I'm a product-based business, so we're looking at this funnel right here. And if I'm a product-based business, when we think about ad number 1, so let's label these now. When we think about ad number 1, when we think about content that should be on ad number 1, we're looking at content around, again, this is going to people that may not have heard of you. So we're looking at, user-generated content. We're looking at case studies, right? We're looking at testimonials. We're looking at top of funnel, right? We're looking at content to get people interested. So when people are scrolling, what's going to get them to stop? We're looking at content around talking about their pain points, right? This is why, you're not getting, leads or sales in your business. Have you ever thought about digital marketing, right? So we're looking at pain points to get them to click on the ad. And then when they click on the ad, that means familiarity, right, has been established. Some sort of relationship has been established. So from there, we're using different type of content. Maybe when they go to your website and they leave, maybe it's an ad around an article that you've been featured in talking about how, your product is XYZ, right? The top 10 products to use this summer, whatever that is. Maybe they go to the product page. Maybe you have a specific video for that product. I remember there was someone, there's a student here who someone created a great review about their skincare product. And this was, she has 4 skincare products, and one particular product had a really great review. Again, if you're just joining us, please mute yourself on your end.
Yeah. It's not an ad, it was
Hey, whoever's talking right now.
Training video for them.
Give me a second. I have to find who's talking so I can mute them. Alexa, oh, okay, I just muted you, Alexa. Awesome. And then so forth. As we go down to the add to cart phase, and the add to cart, these are individuals, that are adding the product to cart. So what we could do here, again, we want to drive sense of urgency. So we're thinking about discount codes, right? Hey, get 20% off if you finish checkout. How many times, or have you ever gotten an email where it says, hey, almost there, come finish checkout? Give me the number 5 in the chat. If you gotten an email that said, hey, come back and finish checkout, right? So what we're doing here is we're running an ad that drives sense of urgency. Hey, this is going to run out. Hey, the discount expires at midnight. Hey, the deals that we're doing, expires and so forth. And then we have the checkout page. And in the checkout page, the checkout means these individuals started typing in their card information, right? So that means they knew what the price of the product was because they added it to cart. So if they knew what the price of the product was, now they're at the checkout page. How many times we get distracted? The doorbell rings. We get on the train and we lose service, right? We get a call and then we pick up the call, then we forget what we were doing. And so we want to run an ad because we know people are going to be laying in bed at night. And now people are going to be in home, scrolling through the gram or Facebook, connecting with relatives, friends, seeing what's going on in current events. So we want to run another ad to these individuals that initiated checkout, right? So every step of the way, what we're doing is we're testing out content. We're seeing, again, we could test out 2 pieces of content here. What we want to see is what's going to convert higher, right? What is going to drive that individual to make that purchase? So maybe this is a photo ad, right? And this is a video ad. And what we're doing is testing out, well, which one is going to convert higher than the other that we're going to be showcasing. So when we think about, again, when we think about the content, right, and now we have all the time in the world to reach out to our customers, to understand why they purchased, to gather testimonials, right? We have all the time in the world to start looking at all the content we have all over and starting to put them in a central location. So it's easy to pull that content and say, you know what? I have 30 pieces of content between video and photo. Here, I'm going to start testing these out. I'm going to put one over here to drive people to the website. I'm going to put one at the product level. I'm going to put one at the add to cart when people add to cart. I'm going to put one at when people initiate checkout. So what I'm doing all along is making sure that, you know, individuals, no matter where they are along your journey, no matter where your customers are along the journey, you're being in front of them. Right? Give me the number 8 if you're tired of seeing my ads. You're like, oh, my Abu is everywhere. Like, I already bought. Like, why am I still seeing this ads? And so this is what I mean. Like, you want to be like that to your customers. You want to be every step of the way because people don't buy their first time. There's a stat that I read that said 2% of people convert their first time on your website. So if only 2% of people are buying the first time on your website, the question is, you know, what happens to the other 98% of people that are coming to your website? And these right here are buying, you know, their second time, their third time, their fourth time, their fifth time, and so forth. It takes a while for people to buy from you. And so what you want to do is essentially always be visible. And when they're ready, they'll come back and make that purchase from you as well. Great question, Vert. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome. We had some technical difficulties in the beginning. We're going to roll through these technical difficulties because, you know, we have difficulties in life and we roll through them. So if you're just joining us, welcome. At any point in this presentation, if you have questions, place them in the chat, right? Place your questions in the chat and I will make sure I get back to them at a certain point as well. Again, as we get into ads, now it's time to be smarter with our ads, right? So the one myth is, you know, do I need a lot of money in order to see any type of results with ads? And the answer is no, right? So as you go through the program, you'll notice I talk about $5 a day, right? Starting by testing out $5 a day when it comes to running ads. And the reason being is because it allows us to test, right? So again, our testing strategies is $5 a day. And this gives us the ability to really test. And so that way we're not spending money. So the strategy behind $5 a day is we want to poke holes before, right, we dig a well. So we don't want to take $100 and just put it into something we don't know if it's going to work. So what we want to do is poke holes before we dig a well. And so we're using $5 a day. And this allows us to run more ads because now that $100 that we were going to use a day, we could split it across and say, okay, I'm going to take $20 and I'm going to run 5 different ads, right? And so now we're spreading that money across. And as, you know, we're poking holes and we see something under the holes, then we put more money in there and we increase it from $5 to $10 a day, right? $10 to $20 a day, right? $20 to $40 a day, and so forth. We start doubling it, right, to $80. As it's working, we begin to start doubling it and so forth. So again, as the ads start working, we begin to double it and so forth. Yeah. So someone asked, is it $5 a day across the funnel? Correct. Again, it's correct. It's $5 a day all across the funnel. So the funnel that we just saw on this screen right here, it's $5 a day across all. So I'm talking about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, right? So $25 right there to get it across your website, product, page, add to cart, checkout, initiate it. Similar with service, right? So here we have one ad, right? We could put another ad here. If they don't opt in, send them back to the opt-in page, right? And then the thank you page, right? And then the ad. So we have 4 ads right here. So all of these are $5 a day. So that means this right here would be it's $20 a day, right? And we're doing it over the span of 3 to 5 days. And all we want to know when we're running ads to check, right? Is it working? All we want to know is, are people moving forward, right? So again, if we are running an ad, and let me just go to this screen right here. If we are running an ad, look at that great ad. Let's just change the colors. And then we have our website. We have our product page. We have our add to cart, ATC is what I'll call it, ATC, add to cart. We have our initiate checkout, just call it IC. And then we have our customer, right? They become a customer. So if we have an ad and we're running this ad across, all we want to know, right, is my ad working? And to answer that question, are people moving forward in the funnel? Let's say we run an ad for $5, right? So here's an ad for $5. And, you know, $5 a day. Let's just get rid of that. $5 a day. And we run this ad, and after day 1, right? So day 1, the ad goes to the website and it goes to the product page, right? So now we're looking at, okay, day 1, okay, at the end of day 1, I didn't get any sales. However, okay, people are clicking the ad, they're going to my website and they're finding a product and they're clicking that product. So, okay, let me wait until day 2 to see what happens. Day 2 rolls around, and now that same person in day 2, right, now they move a little bit further. They go to add to cart. So now day 2, we spent $10, right? We're at day 2, and we spent $10. So we could ask ourselves, okay, should we turn the ad off or should we just wait? Should we wait? Because like now we're getting people adding the product to cart. So maybe a sale is going to happen day 3. So maybe let's just wait. Let's just wait. And then day 3 rolls around and we get initiate checkout. And then let's say someone then goes and buys. So we spent $15 over 3 days. And depending on the price of your product or service, maybe we've made $20, right? We made $5 in profit. Maybe we've made $100, right? And so what we're looking at, are people moving forward along the funnel? So that's the big question that we're always looking at. Are people moving forward along the funnel? And these ads are for conversion, right? These are conversion ads as well. We can do all this tracking with only the Facebook pixel. Yeah, so Aaron that's just joining, the Facebook pixel tracks both Facebook and Instagram. So everything that I'm talking about today applies to both Facebook and Instagram because Facebook owns Instagram, and that pixel that we placed on our website, that pixel tracks both activities that's happening on Facebook and activities that's also happening through Instagram as well. So just to answer that question for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into some Q&As from the forums. So I'm going to start with the forum, and then I'm going to open it up to those people who are in attendance, and I'll go through y'all's question as well. So I'm just going to share my screen one more time. Let me go back. And so again, welcome everyone. Super excited to have you. I know we've been able to figure it out. Welcome to Wednesday Group Coaching. For those of you joining us, this is our coaching call that we normally have for our current students that's enrolled in the Power Your Launch Marketing Accelerator. Classes didn't begin at 7:05 today because we were trying to get some of the people that we were gonna have over YouTube, get them situated, but technical difficulties happened, and so we rolled on. So today's gonna be a little bit different, right? Because we invited people that, aren't in the program. So they're getting a perspective, right, of, well, what are current students working on and where are they? So people are asking questions based on where they are. So this isn't a training where I'm gonna walk you through beginning to end, right? Because we'll be here for the next few days. This is people asking questions based on where they are in the content that they're consuming. And then I'm also gonna answer questions for the public as well. So this is gonna be about 60 to 90 minutes starting now. So again, what you're watching is a group call for current students in our Power and Launch Marketing Accelerator. Why, with everything happening, Nicole and my team approached me yesterday and say, you know what, let's open this up to the community and let's get other people their questions answered because everyone is struggling, right? They're trying to figure out, well, what do I do now, right? What do I do now? How do I get in front of my audience? So again, we're going to start by answering current questions from students, and I'm going to open it up to the public as well. So as you all know, a lot has been changing around us. Just 7 days ago, things were completely different. And so everyone is trying to figure things out. And so that's not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing. It's allowing us to really evaluate, what are we doing in our business? Is what I'm doing in life really for me? Is this the wake-up call that I needed, right? Well, how should I make sure I'm not in this situation ever again? So again, as things are happening, these are all questions that are happening in our minds as well. Something that I read from my good friend Danielle Leslie today from Courses from Scratch, in her email, she put decide, right? She said, with everything happening around us, decide what you're gonna do from this moment moving forward. There are things that are out of our control, and there are things that are in our control. So focus on, okay, what are the things in my control and what can I do moving forward, right? And making sure I'm handling the things that are in my control and not worrying about the things that are out of my control. So I really enjoyed her message and I wanted to share it with you all. So again, my name's Abu. I'm your head instructor. Quick highlights. Again, I've been running ads for 10 plus years. Marketing and monetization. I do a lot of speaking engagements around that and guest lectures around marketing, monetizing, paid ads. Past businesses, I used to run a t-shirt business when I was in school, when I was in college, and in between classes, I scaled that up to $30,000 a month just selling t-shirts. Agency, I used to run an agency where I used to do ads for people. I no longer do that. Doesn't make sense for my time. I do speaking, and I also run a drop shipping business. Well, I used to, I still do. I only spend like 30 minutes on it a month, but it generates about like $3,000 to $6,000 a month. Past work, I used to work on Wall Street. I used to work in Big Four consulting. I used to be in fashion, and I worked for the Versace family. And I used to also work over at the White House as well. Joining us today is my team. There's Nicole, the community manager. There's Jasmine, also another community manager. And there's also Brooke. So anytime you email me, that's not me answering your emails. That is Brooke answering your emails and getting you situated as well. So here's how group coaching is going to work. First, we're going to start with questions in the Q&A form. I'll answer those questions first, and then I'm going to open it up to those in attendance and also public as well. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat. And as I cover other people's question, if it relates to that question I'm answering, I'll try to ask that. Lastly, any questions I don't get to for current students, let's jump into the Facebook group and I'll make sure I answer that for you. So let's get started. Let's get started. Oh man, y'all working me tonight. Y'all working me tonight. Let me go ahead and open up the Q&A form and let's go. So I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. Today's date is the 11, so 15. So there's two Q&A form. There's current students, and then we have Q&A from the public. So if you did ask me a question, I'm gonna get to everyone's questions as well. So I'm gonna start over here, and we're gonna start with Michelle. Okay, so Michelle Smith. You always talk about leaving money on the table. Do you mean getting somehow the folks back who have watched video content on Facebook somehow? Can you explain what you mean by this? Are you talking about funnel? And if so, can you recommend the best approach to building a funnel? So Michelle, I think you are on module 1 and 2. So Michelle, when you get into module, I think it's 3, Nicole, is it module 2 or 3 where we talk about building a funnel? So Michelle, you will get to that point of building a funnel. So don't worry about that in terms of understanding how to build a funnel. So you'll get to that. But what I mean by leaving money on the table, and so when we go back here, and this is a funnel, right? This is a funnel that we've sort of visualized. This is a bird's eye view of a funnel, right? Our website, product page, etc. When we talk about leaving money on the table, we're talking about when someone goes to your website, or let's use an offline example. Let's say you're at a networking event and you meet someone at this networking event. And this person says, hey, follow up with me. How many times have we heard someone say follow up and we don't follow up, right? So we make the contact, but we don't follow up. Imagine if we followed up. Maybe that follow-up leads to, a job opportunity. Maybe it leads to another connection. So when I talk about leaving money on the table, it's like, well, what are we doing to follow back up with our customers? And so if people come to our website and they leave, what next? What happens next, right? What happens next when someone goes to our website and leaves our website? Do we have anything in place to get back in front of them? And a lot of times the answer is no, we do not. But we could change that, right? Because we could run an ad to anyone that visited the website to drive them back to the website. So when I talk about leaving money on the table, it's around what else are we doing in order to get to our customers and get them back through the customer journey to become, a customer. Does that make sense? Give me a 7 in the chat that makes sense. Awesome. Go back to the questions. Okay, so we have TJ. TJ, what's going on? TJ says, I've attached my sales page and honey post. Can you please critique it and let me know if I'm doing it right? So for those of you that don't know, so TJ saying my sales page. Sales page is where people go and they're interested in buying, right? And they say, you know what, I'm interested in buying this, therefore I'm going to purchase because it resonates with me. So TJ, are you on here right now?
I am.
Hey TJ, is your website on here?
No, that would have been smart, right? Yeah. No,
yeah,
no.
could you drop your website in the chat, TJ?
Okay.
So the other thing, a honey post, I know my current students know what a honey post is, but for those of you just joining, a honey post is creating content that resonates and starts conversation. So the reason why I call it a honey post, because honey sticks, right? Honey sticks. So it's supposed to start conversation. So in the program, one of the exercises we do is creating a honey post. So this is when people are, scrolling through your Instagram or your feed, or even when you send an email out, they engage with that because they could relate to what you're talking about and they could resonate. And a lot of times this is the ingredients, right, to drive sales, because they could relate to what you're going through or what you're talking about, and they resonate with that specific story, or they resonate with that specific product or service. Therefore, it's a lot easier to get the conversion, to get the sales. In order to make sales, you have to resonate. And that's rule number 1, first and foremost. So if I go back here, so this is her honey post. And you put 5 years ago, I started my first company, Glamorous Eye Candy Cosmetics. It's been my pride and joy, Mr. Pop, the ups and downs running a business, but somehow we always ended up on top. Our customers, Glammies, has really inspired me to continue on and grow, even though my Glammies love their cosmetics, they would always ask if we had a skincare line. So if you ask, now it's time to receive. Glammies welcomes Glammies Skincare by TJ. It's a botanical skincare line that caters to all skin types, whether you have normal, dry, oily combination skin. So we invite you to take a look. Awesome. So TJ, I like this, right? And I think this is a really good post to do. My challenge for you, TJ, is maybe take a specific instance, right? So maybe there's something along your process, right, where you're sitting in a warehouse, or you're formulating what the product's going to be, or you're in front of a whiteboard, right? And you're sharing your story. Does that make sense, TJ?
Yes, it does.
And so this will be a good one to test, but I would split test that with another honey post as well.
Okay, I will work on it.
Okay, and then TJ, you dropped your website link in the chat?
I did, but I didn't link the sales page in there because I just want to, I'm still working on a lot of things and seeing how it works.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So did you want me to look through that, or did you want to drop it into the Facebook group?
Yeah, I'll drop it into the Facebook group.
Okay, awesome. And Alexa, let's talk about retargeting. Again, I'll get to those questions after I get to these questions here. Awesome. I know Meg, I had emailed you. Angela says, what can we do as small business during this time? Many folks are out of work. Do we launch ads, run sales for our products? And I know, Angela, we talked a little bit about this during the call, what to do now. And it's to provide more value. It's to continue to sell, right? It's to continue to sell during this time. Now, the one big benefit is that there are people that are afraid to run ads during this time. And the only reason, again, this is my theory, right? Abu's theories, is I'm seeing my cost decrease, right? Because people, again, so as more people run ads, it gets more and more expensive because ads is a bidding system. It's competitive as more and more people run ads. But as people are not running ads because they're thinking, well, no one's going to buy, therefore let me not run ads. For everyone else that's still running ads, your cost decreases, right? Because less people are running ads. And so what I would say is continue adding value by running ads and creating content and testing out those content, right? By running ads. The other thing is continue adding value by emailing and connecting further, right, with your audience. So the audience that you have, reach out to them and connect with them further, whether you're sharing a product review, whether you're sharing a case study, right? Whether you're doing a topic, right? Here's the big topic, and I'm going on live on Instagram today to talk about this big topic, right? So engage with your audience. Do not hide from your audience, because now you're going to learn a lot more about your audience because they have time to engage back with you. Angela, does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yep, not a problem. Masi, okay, hi, Boo, I'm on the call. My Shopify gives me the option to include tax or to not include tax on my product. A financial independence game card. What would you recommend doing? How does this affect me? Should I add tax or no tax? So this is like an accountant question. I should have had my accountant on here. So most people add tax on their business. Other people absorb the tax in the cost of their product, right? So they say, okay, my product is, $15. I can either add tax and say, okay, tax is $4. And at checkout, this could be something that deters people from buying because they see, okay, the product was $15, but tax is $4. That's like, man, like when people see $4, they're like, wait a second. So instead, what you could do is absorb that cost and just increase the price of the product to $19. And this is what most online shops do. They absorb the cost and just put it into the original cost of the product. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Now, don't tell your accountant. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Amanda says, can we run ads based on gender? Correct. So for those of you that are just joining, and Amanda, I know you're going through the lessons. In our program, I always teach you, do not click publish on Instagram. Do not click boost. Do not boost your post. Do not publish your post. Those are sort of the worst ways to run your ads because you're limited on targeting abilities. Now, those methods allow you to do gender, but I'm just saying for those of you just joining, so do not click boost, do not click promote. Instead, what we want to utilize is the Facebook Ads Manager. So again, what we want to utilize is the Facebook Ads Manager. And so let me just jump into my manager. And in the Facebook Ads Manager, when we're ready to run an ad, right? So to access this, I just go to regularfacebook.com. Once I'm in regularfacebook.com, I either click this upside down arrow or I'll click see more on the left-hand side. I scroll down and I'll see something called the Ads Manager. Where is it at? Ads Manager. Once I select that, I'll be taken to my Ads Manager. So this is where I go to run my ads. So when I'm here and I click create, this green button. Now, some of your ads dashboard may look slightly different. Facebook is testing out different interfaces to see what they're going to decide to go with. So when I go and create a new ad, I first select my objective. Let me create an ad from scratch. Again, if you're joining, go ahead and mute yourself. There's someone I could hear what's happening. Awesome, thank you. So I click create, I go into the ad creation process. So I'm gonna start over. And then the first thing I do is select my objective. So based on the objective you select, it matters, right? Let me repeat that. Based on the objective you select, it matters. So if and here's an example. Y'all know I love my whiteboard, so let me go back to the whiteboard. So we have different objectives, right? So let's say, we're going to a gala, and this gala has 100 people, right, at the gala. So at this gala, if we tell Facebook, hey, we want to engage, right? Our objective is engagement. So if our objective is engagement, when Facebook goes to this gala, it's talking to everyone. It's trying to engage, right, with everyone. That's the objective that we selected. So we go into this gala and we're talking to everyone. So out of this, maybe we're talking to all 100 people, right? Because we're just trying to talk, right? Just think of yourself when you're at a party, you're at a gala, like that person that's going around the room talking to everyone, that's like the engagement ad, right? They're just engaging. Now, if we tell Facebook conversion, we tell Facebook, hey, Facebook, conversion, and specifically purchase, right? I want to drive purchase, so I'm going to do the objective of conversion. Next time you go to this gala, instead of talking to all 100 people, Facebook already knows who's more likely to convert to the purchase or to the lead or to that objective, right? They know. So out of this 100, they're saying, okay, 35 people actually would buy. So instead of talking to all 100, we're just going to get in front of 35. We're just only going to talk to 35 people. And you're asking, well, how does Facebook know that? Just go under the assumption that they know everything because they collect data. Anytime you buy something, and it doesn't even have to be through an ad, Facebook is tracking that because they have partnerships with those companies. And that data then gets sent back to Facebook. So they know, okay, they know that, Shanti has bought something 2 days ago, right? They know because they store this data. And so that's the data when we're accessing, when we're telling conversion, it's looking for people that are more likely to convert for that objective. And in this case, it's purchase. It's not saying that you're guaranteed 35 purchases. It's just saying that we're going to talk to people that are more likely to purchase. Does that make sense? Give me a 9 in the chat if that makes sense. Okay, so when we go back to our screen right here, So once we select our objective, so maybe our objective is purchase, we then go to the next screen and name and convention, y'all, right? So I have a name and convention. We're in Q1, I call it maybe, products, whatever that name and convention is. As you run more and more ads, you want to make it easier to find. And then you set your budget. You can set it at the campaign level or at the ad level, right? So it doesn't really matter. So, okay, we go to continue. We are here where it says, what do you want to optimize for? And I said, I want to optimize for purchase. That's what I want to optimize for. As I scroll down, it then asks me, well, who's your audience? Who do you want to target? And so we have custom audiences, which are people that are, engaged with us on Instagram, visited our website, are on our email list, and so forth. And then there's lookalike audiences from there. And then we have detailed targeting. These are people that have no idea who we are. These are completely cold audiences, right? People that like Beyonce, right? People that, watch Shark Tank, right? And then over here we have gender. So this is where you would go to select, what gender you want to target. And then age range. When you think about age, you have to start asking yourself, our 18-year-olds, right? Do they actually have money to spend? So maybe you're starting at 25-year-olds, right? Because you're like, okay, they have more disposable income. 18, think about when you were 18, did you really have money to spend, and so forth? So this is where you would go to select, gender, right? This is who I want to target at that time. Corinthia, what's going on? Corinthia says, I was recently asked for doing a collaboration with another brand, also getting my brand and apparel on local Atlanta female artists. However, as far as a collaboration, I'm not off the ground totally yet. So how would I go about that? As far as my apparel being on the artist, I'm not against it, but at the same time, I'm not going to give out free clothing. It's not like it's being featured on Fashion Bomb Daily, although I'm grateful for the opportunity. This is definitely a good question.
I'm sorry, Abu. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that.
No, you're good.
I don't want to give away 1,000 t-shirts right now, but at the same time, I do understand what it takes, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so this is like where you look at inventory and you ask the business, right? The CEO, Corinthia putting on the CEO asks, like, does this make sense for me? Okay, if I do have it and I can, maybe, I grab content from her wearing the apparel, right? So maybe that's the deal. Okay, and at least now I have content that I could utilize and run ads around. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, that's perfect.
It's funny, when I used to run a t-shirt business, and when I first started, I didn't have that much inventory. My first few inventories from Vistaprint, don't ask me why, but I thought I knew what I was doing. And I had, I think, like a box of 30. I ended up selling 29. I had one shirt left, and I would give it to the athletes around my campus, but it would rotate. Like I would go and I would literally wash it, and then I would find them, and I'm like, all right, let's grab a photo. They take a photo in it, and I would get it back, and then I go to because I just didn't have inventory, and so that was my approach.
One thing I definitely can say, I have enough product for another event, and I did my first. I did well. I don't know if you know, but I did my first event with Media Girl Tour, and that was a success.
Oh, that's
I made
awesome.
almost half of what I paid.
Okay.
So that was awesome, but I really connected. And when you talk about network, I don't never let my network go to waste. And I always say airdrop is free, so I always make myself a contact.
Gotcha.
And I airdrop that bad boy.
Gotcha.
And so I think people are really understanding and resonating with my brand now. I'm doing a lot of revamping with my content, social media, all of that stuff.
Okay.
Because I have two target audiences, and those two target audiences are from 24 to 34 is that Jane Babe, which she resonates more with that versus a woman who is between the ages of 40 and 55. She's going to wear a 2 Corinthians Walk by Faith, Not by Sight t-shirt because it's going to resonate with Corinthia Jane.
Right.
But it's coming together for a while, Abu, that I was really, really in my head. And I got with my accountability partner, and she really helped me realize a lot of things. So it's coming along slowly but surely.
No, that's good. That's good to hear. And again, what you're doing is you're running a business by experimenting and seeing what works and what doesn't, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's the way to do it. And then for your second
Yep, I got some
question,
testimony. Yep, go
and
ahead.
for your second question, when you talk about, targeting, and this is what you're really saying, how do you really
Yeah.
find your competition? Again, your competition, again, you're selling, right? So you have different competitors. One competition is people that also sell apparel. Although they may not be selling the same type, but there's also meaning that they also have other alternatives and options. But when we talk about targeting them, and there's a targeting exercise that you're going to do later on, but it's around the psychographics, right? And this is really focused around, what's my audience watching, reading, who are they following, who are they listening to? And so when you go through that exercise, that's what you're going to use, and then go into detailed targeting to target those different individuals, those different audience groups. Does that make sense, Corinthia?
Yes, it does. It really does. Thank you so much.
Yep, not a problem.
Alrighty.
Awesome. Okay, I was unclear on the honey post. I could not look at the examples in their entirety. I did it and submitted it, went to the Facebook group. I don't want to post my pic. Do I have to? May I have some feedback? Did you actually post it in the Facebook group? Okay, let's look at this honey post. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm skimming this honey post. 2011, I started my 11th year special education teacher. Okay, so I like the idea, right, of putting these dates, right? 2011, right? 2012, 2013. And then you have the link, right? Don't just take my word, right? Here is an article that talks about that, right? So I like this idea. And so my advice for you is, as I skim through this, is that when you think about honey post, you want to make sure you're resonating with someone. Therefore, I would focus on a specific story. Maybe a student came to you. Maybe, you had an idea that you tested out. Maybe you have a case study. Maybe you created content that you could then send people to. Maybe you have a video series. So this should start with, right? Again, you're building it up, right? So instead of doing specific dates, you're going from a specific moment of time that you were, where this was a big pain for you, where you're like, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Or you see this in everyday example and you're like, okay, now I'm going to go ahead, right? So a specific story. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if you're on here. I'm looking for you. Okay, there's way too many people. Okay, April. April says LinkedIn ad versus Facebook ads. What is your take on LinkedIn marketing to my targeting audience there? It'll be a good idea. Again, April, because I know what you do, LinkedIn will be a good idea. LinkedIn ads, one thing to know is that they're relatively new. So, they may not be as robust as utilizing Facebook and Instagram ads, but it's something to try, right? Something to try using LinkedIn ads. But again, I would also focus on, because that's what you're learning here, Facebook and Instagram ads as well. What do you recommend will be the best email sequence provider? So this depends sometimes on usability, right? Is it easy to use, easy to navigate, and so forth? So I started out when I was running a business with MailChimp. Literally, I started MailChimp's free plan. And then later on, I went to like ConvertKit. And then if I'm a product-based business, I was using Klaviyo. So those are the email sequence, softwares that, that are, again, all of them are good, right? It all also depends on budget, right? Is it easy to use? So those are like the bigger questions to navigate. 3, what's your take on ClickFunnels? Have you used them before? So yes, I have used ClickFunnels. And for those of you wondering what ClickFunnels is, it's a tool to, to create landing pages and websites and so forth. And so it's good. The only con is for a small business owner, it's $97 a month, right? That's literally the only con. Everything else is a pro. So you have to ask yourself, okay, am I able to do $97 a month? If not, then I just do another platform. There's lead pages. People have been using this tool called Flow or something like that. I've never used it, but I keep hearing a lot about it. I probably even spelled it wrong. Flow Desk. Thank you, Aisha. Flow Desk. There's also, the Squarespaces of the world, the Wix and et cetera, where you can create these landing pages, et cetera, et cetera. Great question, April. Honey, I've been attempting to do a landing page for several days. However, GoDaddy does not allow landing pages or integration from another site to add on. Can a funnel still be made without a landing page? Is it necessary? Is there a way around it? I feel stuck. Honey, you don't need a landing page. You're selling your products, send people directly to your website or to the product page.
Okay. Is there any way, I have it on the screen. Is there any way that you can look at it to see? I don't even know if I did it right.
Yeah. What do you have on the screen?
My funnel.
Do you mind dropping it into did you post it in the Facebook group, honey?
No. I'm just embarrassed. I get embarrassed real easy, so I didn't want to.
Come on, honey. If you don't get, honey, you don't get out of here. How long you been here? You don't take
I don't.
Make yourself at home. So you created your funnel. Okay. You created your funnel on your website, honey?
No, on the
visual builder.
Right, the visual builder that you dropped in the thing, but it's on my screen.
Gotcha. Do you mind screenshotting it and dropping it into the Facebook group, and I'll look at it in there?
Okay. I'll do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jarika says, in Module 1 homework worksheet for understanding your target market, one of the questions is, what are the common objections raised during the journey? Can you give me an example of what you mean? Yeah. So, Jarika, you're a makeup artist, right? So the type of business you're running is a makeup artist. And so when we think about objections, and when I ask the questions, and this is what you all should be asking, right? What would make people say, you know what, I don't really know if I'm going to go with this, right? Is it price, right? Is it quality of service, right? So we have to ask ourselves, what are people's hold up with moving forward with us? Is it price? Is it because they had a bad experience with another makeup artist and they're like, you know what, I had a bad experience, they didn't show up on time, right? So what we're trying to do is ease their mind, right? We're trying to ease their mind to make the purchasing decision a lot easier, right? So if we ease their mind, if we had, in our language, right? If we were marketing, if we were marketing specifically around, how quickly we do something, right? And it's professional. Or experience that we have, right? Come get your makeup done and drink wine, right? So we're easing people's mind. It makes it a lot easier to purchase, right? We're talking specifically to them and saying, what they're going through. And we're saying, and we're answering that for them. And so it's like if someone that was trying to get their makeup done by you, Jarika, they DM you, and what are those private questions that they're asking you that's holding them up, right? So that's what you need to create that content around, so you don't get a million DMs. Rather, you send people to a website and all those questions are answered for them already. Does that make sense, y'all? Give me a number 4 in the chat. That makes sense. Back to here. Okay, my ad is active and running, but I can't see any results. It's also not spending any money from my budget. It says it's active, but it looks like it's not running at all. So I'm guessing you're doing a retargeting ad. And so let me look at it. Is this a retargeting ad, Mata?
Yes, it is.
Gotcha. So what I would do is You're driving purchase, right? Are you, what's the objective?
Conversion.
Purchase?
Yeah, conversion. I don't.
So it's conversion and then you selected purchase?
Yeah, I think so. So honestly,
okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, finish your thought.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. When I was just running an ad and I didn't have this option. Right now I have this option. So I just put it, I think, purchase.
Okay. So what I would do is duplicate the ad and instead of purchase, select add to cart.
Add the cart, okay.
Yeah, and select add to cart.
And I actually have another question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So at the ads manager, when you said do retargeting on there right now, so right in the bottom it says use saved audience, right? And then I choose the one that I created already, such as retargeting, and I add that. But in the bottom,
Okay.
Go ahead.
In the bottom it says it's asking if I should change the age, the gender. Do I have to do anything, or is it just?
You could just copy what your other targeting interests were from the previous one.
And when I do that, I don't have to add and fix anything else. I don't have to put an age or location. No.
No.
Okay, I think I messed up somewhere there. So.
And then also screenshot that and put in a Facebook group, and I'll be able to look at it exactly.
Okay, I will do. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, someone asked creative and how to read metrics. Creative and how to read metrics. That is super broad. Adelaide, are you on here?
Yes, I am. Hi, Abu.
Hey, how's it going? What do you mean creatives and how to? Did you go through reading the dashboard?
Yes, so I did, right? And then I ran my first ad, but for some reason, I feel like my impressions are just a lot more lower than what they're supposed to. So maybe I'm just gonna go through again the metrics section again and just trying to really figure it out. And when I say creative, what I mean is that is there any particular type of idea picture that I can use for my fashion e-commerce? Because I tried to run some testimonials as my retargeting, and I've also tried to use some pictures of the other past customers actually trying on the clothes, but I feel like they're probably not really attracting my dear customer.
Right. So one thing I would do, and for those of you on this call, so have you utilized the Facebook ads library yet?
No, yeah, I think I should.
So the Facebook ads library will allow you to see all the ads that other people are running, and use this as an example, right? Where you could look at, like I was, in your space, what types of ads and content are people showcasing? Right. So don't start from scratch. Stop starting from scratch, right? Look at what's already out there. And if it's not broke, don't fix it. You feel me? So I would start here, get the ideas, and then move forward with that.
Right. Okay, sounds good. I'll go check it out then. Thank you.
Yep, not a problem. Carolina. Dang. When we were building our long story in the Founder's Inner Story worksheet, is that what we used to create the honeypot? It can be, right? We could take parts of that Founder's Inner Story and convert it, right, into a honeypot, right? I mean, a honey post, right? A honeypot, a honey post. And so again, we could take that and start converting it into a honey post. So that gives us a really good foundation, right? Because maybe from there, that long story, that's one story. Maybe there's also another story, right? So again, we could take that one story and then turn it into a honey post as well. So that is correct. We can utilize that in that fashion. Someone jumped on here and asked about YouTube. So no, I don't teach YouTube ads. YouTube ads is a whole nother beast. So I do not teach YouTube ads. Sorry about that. Only teach Facebook and Instagram ads. Awesome. So I'm going to jump into these questions that were submitted by the folks that the additional 200 folks that are on this call right now. And honey, I will circle back to your Facebook post that you're posting in the group right now as well. So Love asks, what is the best way to generate traffic to your offer? Where is a great place for a new business owner to start at low cost? So best way to generate traffic to your offer. And I know we talked about a lot of different ways, Love, but it's the, you're running and you're testing, right? So there is no, what is the answer, boo? It's all about, you have to test. You have to test different type of content to your website, to your product page, etc., to see then what works. Again, I start at $5 a day as well, Love. Roberts asked, thanks for the opportunity. What's the best way to go about targeting Facebook ads for best ROI? Similar answer, you have to test, Roberts. Again, best ROI, when you start with ads, sometimes you're not making any money to begin with. There's this misconception that, okay, if I spend $1, I'm gonna make $1 million back in ads. It doesn't work like that. Right? You start by spending a small budget and you increase it if it's working, or you start testing a whole new audience. If that $5 generates $15 for us, that's a win because you've made more than you spent. And then you're going to take all $15 and you're going to put it back into the business. And then if that 15 makes $85, again, that's a win. So this is a long-term game, right? This is a long-term game. This isn't a overnight $1 for $1 million game as well. And a lot of strategies around ROI, again, teach it into the program. I could go on and on about different conversion tactics and methods. Cynthia says, I'm most interested in learning how to streamline ads for Facebook and Instagram. So for instance, I want my ads to reach African Americans in the greater Atlanta area. What tools are available to do that? Again, you would use ads, and it's based on your targeting, Cynthia. Again, the psychographics. What are they reading, watching, listening to? That's how you're going to get in front of them, and especially your asset. What are you showcasing? If you want to reach African-American women and you're showing white males, are people going to click on that ad, right? So really starting to think about the entire process end to end as well. Bianca says, what ads work well for an event venue like mine, considering we're in a time where people are afraid to hold events? Yeah, so you may want to reconsider that business model. Right? So we're in a time where events aren't being held because of government, because of state officials, right? You can't have extra capacity. Thinking about doing virtual events. And there are people doing this all right now, and they are selling by doing virtual events, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, doing virtual events, everyone knows what's happening. It's not like everyone's in a vacuum and you're the only one that knows. Everyone knows what's happening, and they don't want to be there either. Right, but they'd rather do a virtual event. So I would sell virtual events as well. So again, similar ads again around past events that you've done, around customer case studies, customer testimonials, the value that they're going to be getting out of the event. If you have articles, running the articles, etc. Amanda says, I would basically need someone to hold my hands through this program. That's the main reason for not joining. I'm scared. Can y'all tell Amanda to stop being scared? Can y'all tell Amanda to stop being scared? Amanda, if you're on here right now, as you can see, we do these sessions to get questions specifically answered for what you're doing. But everyone, right, you can't be scared. You have to jump and really start thinking about, what am I doing in my business that's different than yesterday? If you're still doing the same thing and you're not growing as a CEO, as a person, then it's hard, right? It's very hard to make progress when you're also not mentally, you're not mentally challenging yourself as well. So again, man, there's a huge community here, as you could see, and also in our Facebook group, there's a huge community here. There's, I think, about almost 800 different business owners as well in the community. So yeah, so there is nothing to be afraid of. And honey, I'll get to that in a second. Okay. Here's me taking a brief pause. So let's look at Honey's post real quick. So Honey posted her funnel, and this is something we create in a program. So Honey, you have your ad to your landing page, to your product page, to the cart page, and they order. You have the email sequences going out. And I'm guessing these are ads right here, Honey, right? Where the email envelope is?
Yes, those are ads. I had a hard time trying to figure out add the text.
Gotcha. So the email and the ads, you remember on your cart, you would also have emails that go out if they abandon cart. So
okay, see, I'm sorry. GoDaddy does not allow you to edit.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm over them.
Gotcha.
They don't allow you to edit. And they only send one. That's it. You only get that one.
Okay, so if they only allow you to do one right now, do that one. I found that 3 convert higher, but if they only allow you to do one, do that one for now, right? Because that's where you currently are. But then run those ads at each of those stages as well.
Okay. So I just have to figure out how to run the ad. Okay. I'll figure it out.
Gotcha. And then, honey, what module are you on right now?
I'm at the end of 3. I was doing the
okay. So
I'm done with that. Then I'll
gotcha. So module 4 starts the ads.
Okay.
Yep. So you're right on time. No, you're right on time.
Thanks for your patience. I appreciate it.
No, you're good, honey. You're good. You are good. Let me go back to the questions. Patricia says, do I need a funnel to sell my product or service? Yes, you're eventually going to have a funnel because everything is a funnel, right? Even dating, right? Courting, and then you become boyfriend. Like, that's a funnel. You're getting to know someone. Going to the store is a funnel, right? Everything is a funnel. So your question, yes, right? To sell anything, you need a funnel because you need to send people to somewhere where that transaction occurs. And typically that's your website. Can you sell your plan separate from ebook, or you combine it? Plan separate. I'm not sure what this means, Patricia. If you're on here, feel free to re-ask that question in the chat. What is the best funnel company that are also reasonable cost? So there is no best funnel company, right? So again, there's websites that you could use, right? Again, there's email providers that you could use, right? So there's no best funnel company. For website, if you're a product-based business, Shopify, other types of business, again, you could use Squarespace, WordPress, Wix, right, etc. So again, email provider, you could use MailChimp, ConvertKit, Klaviyo, etc. So it's everything that you're using in combination. That's a series that makes a funnel. Evelyn says, what is the most effective way to change your ad set to narrow down your target market? First, find what's working. So what I mean by that is if I went back to my ads manager dashboard and I'm trying to read the data. So let me go back to my ads manager dashboard. And I'm trying to read the data. So let me go to a certain time period. So I'm going to go into, January to January 31st. Now that I've, selected a time frame, I'm going to limit, and I'm going to go into dashboard 4. So I'm going to look at my my dashboard. And from January 1st to January 31st of 2020, I made $300,000, right? So here it is right here, $300,000. I spent $100,000. Again, I started with $5 a day, and it took me a year. Again, it took me 1 year to get here because every time I made money, I would put it back in the business. And now I'm able to spend more money, right? So again, I did not start. If you asked me January of 2019, I did not have $100,000. I repeat, I did not have $100,000. At that time, I probably had maybe like some savings from work because I just left my job. But I started with $5 a day, and over time, I got here. You make more money, you spend more money to make even more money. Okay. So when I'm looking at this and I run an ad, what I then want to do is see, well, what worked? So what I want to come to is the breakdown. And I want to break down by maybe gender. So when I look at this ad, I see, okay, out of the 90,000 I made, 84,000 came from women and 8,000 came from men. I want to start breaking it down because if I duplicate this, maybe now I'm just targeting women. I'm not targeting men because I'm like, wow, I made so much money from men and women. Next, we go to platform, right? For those of you that say, should I be marketing on Facebook? Out of this 92,000, I made 59,000 from Facebook. So imagine if I only was marketing on Instagram. I would have left 59,000 on the table because I would have only made $33,000, right? So does that make sense? Like we want to look at the data, allow that data to help us tweak and narrow down the focus even further. Awesome. Man, it's a lot of questions. Aside from running ads, is a course assistant proper setup successful sales funnel. So we go through funnels. We don't do the sales funnel for you, right? We don't create the pages, but we showcase a lot of different examples that you could utilize to create, your own. What are the steps to create an effective paid ad campaign to call in new leads, clients? I think we talked about it. It really starts with campaign development.
Let her give you some.
Jodian, can you mute yourself? Nicole, did you want to control my screen?
We're ready.
There we go. Just muted her. Okay. So I'm going to get through as many of these in the next 30 minutes. For my current students that are on here right now, if y'all have any questions, please drop them in the chat and I will answer those. And then also anyone else that has questions, drop it in the chat and I'll try to answer those and the questions that are also in the form as well. I'm going to do a lightning round of the form, but before I jump into the form and answer those questions, I want to make sure that I'm answering, current student questions as well. Hey, Abigail, is that you? Yeah, so Terrence, great question. I know you just enrolled. So a lead is essentially, something to get people email address, name and email, right? So a lead can be something of a freebie, right? So maybe, 10, a checklist of the 10 most visited places, right? Maybe you're a travel blogger and you're trying to get people's email addresses and names. So maybe that's the freebie, right? The free content you're giving away in exchange for someone's name and email address where you could follow up with them, right? So that's essentially what a lead is, right? You're gathering people's information to then follow up with them as well. What's the ideal number range we should aim for with detailed interest targeting? Anywhere from, you want to start minimum from and a lot of those testing strategies there, but you want to be under like 10 mil when you're starting out as well. Jody, and again, I'm going to mute you. I think you keep unmuting yourself. Awesome. Well, awesome. A landing page is where you collect that data, right? A landing page is where people go to gather that data. So for example,
What's going on?
Hey, whoever's talking, 30 minutes. Give me 1 second. So I'm gonna mute someone. Someone keeps Rachel. That's you. Okay, Rachel. I just muted you. So this is a landing page, right? Landing page is where people go where you capture information, right? You go to the landing page and you capture someone's information. So landing page, when you capture it, they become a lead. But when people click your ad, they need to go somewhere, and that's what's called the landing page, right? Or a product page. You need to drive them to somewhere, right? So that's what that is. Awesome. So I'm going to go through some more of the questions. Physical shop, selling books, the most effective way to get ads. Should I create a separate page for apparel shop and my book coaching? Yes, I would do that. I would do that again. I would do that. Go through some of these. When we think about top performance and studying data, look at primary metrics, like what's my ROI, how much am I putting in, how much am I getting out? For those of you that are in the program, in Module 5, we talk about like 20 different data points to look at to read your data, to really understand what's happening in your ads as well. Awesome. So I'm going to go through some of the questions in the forum lightning round. I'm just going to go through in the next 15 minutes, answer as many questions as possible. Nicole, are you trying to request access? It's I don't see you requesting access.
Can't see it either, so I'll just try to keep an eye on it.
Okay. Is there something specific I should be doing?
No, just trying to mute people.
Oh, gotcha. No worries. So I'll go through more of these questions on the forum. Again, feel free to answer questions on the chat. So it's 8:30 where, it's typically the end of the class for current students. Again, go ahead into the Facebook group. If there's the questions I didn't answer for you, drop it into the group and I will answer that question for you as well. I'm going to go through some of these questions from the public and trying to answer as many of them as possible as well. And Abigail, you're completely right. Right now, you all have the time to get this done, right? Everyone is freaking out and trying to figure out, how do I market online? How do I go about selling my product or service? And now is the best time, when you have this downtime, to really start. Give me 1 second as I find whoever's talking. To really start utilizing and saying, okay, let me get through the program now, right? Okay, it's a 6-week program, but I have the downtime. Let me dedicate more hours to get through the program now, because I'm going to try to start selling my product. Because there's now more than ever, people are in front of their screens, right? People are on their phone. People are following the news. People are at their desktop, people are on Facebook, people are on Instagram. So now is a really good time to utilize running ads for your business, as well as sending out emails. Again, you should not be afraid to sell during this time. So really doubling down and saying, okay, let me get through this program, right? Let me make sure I'm learning the skill set and I'm understanding it, because now where everything is going online, you have to know how to sell online. You have to know how to sell that product or service that you're running online, especially if you can't be in contact with your individuals, right? Your clients or your customers at this specific moment. Go back. Okay. Whew, man, y'all working me today. How do you run effective Facebook ads? What's the best way to monetize? So I talk about all this in my program. I could sit here for a week and talk about that. Now it says, I'd like to learn about how to maneuver as an entrepreneur on my first brand, launching an appealing web presence, successfully find Facebook ads tools you recommend. I don't know if this is a question, but hopefully you learned something and take something away from our session here today. Tasha says, so I just started my business. I've been building for family and friends and associates. The problem is they're not serious. They don't put any energy into the projects themselves because they've been doing it for free. When I ask them for a picture or descriptions, they don't respond. They don't even have finished products that I could use as a work sample to give them potential customers. How do I reach paying customers who need my service when I'm not ready for a full launch yet? You do free case studies. You do free work. You bottle it up in a case study of how you help someone go from A to Z, and you advertise that free case study, right? So that would make someone comfortable when they can see your work displayed and how you help transform someone else's business. It makes it a lot easier to sell when they can see your work. Does your service work better for product service? Doesn't matter. Chimere says, how to funnel properly. I don't know what that means, but I think we talked enough about funnels during this session. What are some strategies I could use to grow my Facebook page? I've been stuck on 813, 814 for the longest. So my program does not teach you how to grow a large following. I do not care about that, right? All we talk about is monetization and how to drive sales, right? How to drive sales. I have a page on Instagram that's 53 people following me, and it makes $6,000 a month. I do not care about following. Again, I do not care about following. Followers does not mean you're going to make sales. So let's just throw that out of the window. Tactic to work to grow your business, visibility, engagement. I think we talked about a lot of different tactics during the session. I really love IG and have been growing that as well. Should I bother with continuing to grow my IG, or is that a distraction? Again, I would focus around finding something that you can sell, Maggie, right? Finding something that you can make money, right? Rather than solely focus on just growing your follower count as well. Okay, what are your tips for making marketing top tips? I think we talked about a lot of that, so I'm gonna skip those questions. What's the best way to reach your audience with a $0 budget? You create good content and you target them via the ads manager, and that content will then lead the right people to you because they're clicking and engaging with that content that you're putting out as well. Mia says, the photos I'm using are getting traffic, but they're not driving sales. Do you suggest on how to niche down further your target audience? So it's hard to understand your question without reading your dashboard and reading your data. So I'm going to skip over that. My second question is in regards to messaging. Do you believe that short and sweet is more effective than long form? I would test both. Again, I would test both, Mia. Natasha says, how do I create a marketing plan for my product and services that will generate consistent revenue? That's literally what this entire program is about. And so, yeah, that's what this program is about. Chanel says, I want to get into ads, but don't know where to start. What's an inexpensive way to start learning? YouTube University, Google University. That's how I started learning 10 years ago. I made a lot of mistakes, and the program that I created now is to teach how to avoid all those mistakes. So you're either going to spend time or you're either going to spend money, right? You're either going to spend time, right? You're either going to spend money, and sometimes you're going to spend both learning, right? So it's like you're going to have to do one or the other. Ian says, for service like online boutique, drop shipping store, is there still a need of stress on copy? I mean, people know what clothes are. Curious to know. Yeah, so it's always about competitive advantage and trying to differentiate, right? So you test out different copy out. What would be your retargeting strategy that you would want to receive a certain amount of traffic before you start remarrying or remarketing, or you would do it straight away? I think we talked about some remarketing strategies earlier on the call, so I would check that out, Ian. Naya says, what strategies do you suggest to immediately start profiting from ads $5 a day? I think we talked about that too, Naya. Are you still hiring for an executive assistant? Naya, I would go ahead. Well, we're already in the process of, narrowing people down. So yes and no. What's the difference between using create an audience and detailed targeting? Create an audience and detailed targeting. Since I don't launch till Friday, does a customer audience apply to me as of now? Customer audience. Najula, jump into the Facebook group and ask this question.
Hey, Abu, it's not. How are you? Long time no talk.
What do you mean by creating an audience?
So I already ran 2 ads just to kind of test out with like getting engagement. I launched Friday, so
Okay.
because I already come with like a built-in audience, brand new from scratch, should I be going detailed targeting route?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Yep, you should be going detailed targeting route for that. And when they go to your website, as more people go to your website, lookalike audience.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yep, not a problem. Simone, how niche brands can identify target audiences to market and resonate with? So the big thing, Simone, is psychographics. And I know I keep stressing that, but people think there's customer profile and psychographics are the same thing, and they're not, right? Customer profile, you're focused on demographics. Psychographics, you're focused on characteristics. So focus on the characteristics of your audience to better be able to identify and target them. Which platform produces a cheaper CPR, Facebook, Instagram? Neither, test both. Which objectives should be used for brand awareness campaigns? Objectives, if it's a brand awareness campaign, then that's the objective. So is this a trick question? This is a trick question, Simone. I know this is a trick question. Diamond says, what are the types of ads I should be running if I want to see growth in sales? I would test out different types of ads, and I think we talked about a few of them that you could run. I would check the beginning and call. Is it wise to create ads from my phone or ads manager? 100% ads manager, so AKA your laptop. How do I run ads targeting cold, hot, warm leads? I think we talked about different types of targeting. The detailed targeting level in the ads manager, this is where you would go to target your audience as well. So again, I'm trying to get through as many of these questions. So I can't dive really deep into many as well. Okay, Lorraine says, I want to be noticed. I want to make my business in front of people. How do I do that? Detailed targeting. How do I get people to buy my ebooks, buy my page? Start out detailed targeting, leading them to your website. What ads do I run before launching my boutique? Just run ads to your boutique when you launch it. That's what I would do. So either you're collecting your email address now and letting them know, hey, boutique is launching, or you're running them straight to your product page. The business was scheduled to launch mid-spring. Should we postpone given the current upcoming state of the economy? No. Continue and launch your business. Put money in biz. Yeah, continue putting money in your business and launch your business. Barb says none. Tanisa says, helping to launch my new business to get in front of my target. Okay, hopefully you talked about different strategies. I would simply like to learn. Eloise, hopefully you learned something today. Tracy says, how long will you have this special for monthly payments? I need your help, all this. I don't know how much longer. I am sold. I needed you 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I think I was, where was I? I think I was working on Wall Street, so I did not have time 2 years ago because I was working 100 hours a week on Wall Street. Loved it. Just kidding. Hated it. How can I use the system to market to human resources of companies? You can't, because, you know, you could use ads to get the B2C. It's hard to get the specifically human resources of companies. Now, you could run ads to humans, right? And if those humans find what you're doing appealing, maybe they do work in human resources, right? So I would tailor your approach a little bit differently in that sense, or create content that resonates with human resource folks, get their email number, and then follow up with them. Lisa says, getting coaching is so expensive as a startup. How can you pay for a masterclass or coaching that costs more than an inventory product you haven't even set up? So this is a question around, Lisa, investing in yourself versus doing it your own and making a lot of mistakes along the way. Both methods work. You just have to figure out what works best for you. Amisha says, how to effectively find your target, launch an ad. I think we went through some targeting exercises. Nana says, how do I target groups with interests that aren't listed? You can't. You have to then think about other interests that you can target, right? So again, if it's not there, you have to then think about other ways that you can target your audience and get in front of them with other interests. Because of the restrictions of the industry, is there a way to use ads, or is it solely SEO optimization? So if you're doing CBD products, currently you cannot run ads for CBD products. You just can't. Again, I wish I had Mark Zuckerberg's number to call him and let him know that, you know, but right now you can't. In the future, it may change, but currently you cannot do that. Okay, B2B, so B2C. Having great ads, more important than having a great website, both. Having great ads and websites, both. You need both, right? You need both. It's like what's an analogy I could use? I don't know an analogy because my brain is just overriding. So have great websites and have great ads. Because we work more with politicians and nonprofit. Gotcha. I mean, politicians and nonprofits, you know, are on Facebook and Instagram. If there's anything you learn from the 26th election, is that politicians are on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, you see their ads all the time. Are videos better than just word advertising? Test out both. Okay, June says, is this course right for me if I understand how ads work but don't know how to create successful campaigns? Yes. There's a paid in full come session with you. It's a live session, which is a more intimate session where we go through Pixel and yeah, whatever. But it's not a one-on-one session, to reiterate that. Dang, where was I at? So the painful does not come in a one-on-one session with me, just to answer your question, June. Lisa says, where do I plug in my retargeting ad sequence on the ads manager? Yes. So your retargeting ad, you would plug that into, you would take the URL. So you take the URL, you go into audiences, and then you would paste that URL in the audiences. And then you're able to target that audience, right? So that's how you would retarget or get back in front of your audience. How much would you suggest spending on ads testing? $5 a day. Lakeisha says nothing. Ty says, how can I make ads work for me? How can I drive more folks to my page? I want to traffic equal customers. How can I get more followers? How can I stick out from everyone else? So sticking out from everyone is around content. These other 4 questions, we covered a lot of it. Again, content that you put out. You don't have to stick out from everyone else. You just have to stick out to your audience, your ideal audience. I'm still struggling with ads, especially targeting the right audience. Would love to join group coaching course. And I was wondering if you have a sale time soon. So fella, I would wait. There's no rush. Wait, right? Because it costs money to run ads. So I would wait. Priscilla says, don't know yet. What is the best way to encourage engagement for an oversaturated market? Create really good content. Jerry, how do I start a real estate consulting education company? You just started. How do I grow my Facebook group and get clients? Focus on driving sales. I have a formula, but that's it. How do I start selling without a following? I know nothing about business. You don't need a following. You start by just starting a business, and you look for who your ideal customer is. You try to sell to them manually. And if you can sell them manually, you get testimonials, and then you try to sell to the next person, and then you take it online. Where do I start with ads? Hopefully you would answer that. How do I get started? How do I choose the right conversion activity? How to launch an ebook? You just launch the ebook and you run ads to that ebook to get conversions as well. How do I use ads to find customers? We talked about targeting. Which ads better use on Instagram versus Facebook? Both video and photo work on both platforms. How can you retarget clients who already follow you on Instagram? In the ads manager, when you go to create audience, you go to custom audiences, and you could target people who engage with you on Instagram, right? And this is where you would go. Anyone who engaged with you on Instagram, that's how you would target that audience. Okay. Let's launch it. Supporting hometowns mayor to plant 1 million trees. Gotcha. We're going to skip that question. How to sell shirts without ads, since Facebook doesn't allow ads for cannabis companies. Yeah, so you would do email marketing. So you would use social media to build an engagement audience, and then you would sell that way. It's more manual, right? Again, you can't use ads because of the restrictions. So you have to do a more manual approach, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, we have to stop thinking that sales just come overnight. It does also take work in order to make those sales, right? Like that. If it was so easy, everyone would be running this $1 million business, because everyone would always be making sales 24/7 in their business as well. Someone is not muted. Jasmine, that's you. I just muted you. Awesome. So I just went over like 200 questions in 30 minutes. And so what I'd like to close out with, because, I could be going all night, is that, whether you're a current student of mine or, you're considering the Powering Launch program, it's a lot of work. As you could see, the types of questions that are asked, it is a lot of work in the program. But if you could do the work, and now there's no better time, you have this time, you're home, to do the work. You have to start figuring out, how do I sell online? Because that's where everything is moving. Everyone already knew that, but that's where everything is moving, to get in front of your audience, to convert, to close. So the program is a lot of work. If you are interested, just email my team, support@poweryourlaunch.com, and we'll share that link with you, or just go to the website. I know y'all have gotten 1 million emails from me, and so you could just go to that website as well to enroll. And again, if you are running ads right now, do not be discouraged. Continue to sell in your business, continue to provide value, and continue to create content and engage with your audience. Now is not the time to retreat, right? Now is the time to double down and go harder, right? Double down and go harder, right? So you're in your business. You decided to be a CEO. Nobody told you to be an entrepreneur. But now that you're in the process, you might as well make the most out of it, right? My mentor used to always have this idea of squeezing the lemon. If you're going to do it, get the most out of it. Squeeze the lemon, right? Do not go 50%. Double down and get it done. Double down and get it done. People are making money online because everyone is online now. And you're like, well, what am I going to do now? You're going to learn the skill. That's what you're going to do. So no matter what happens, you know people are going to be online, right? You know that's a fact. And now you know how to get in front of them and how to engage with them and creating the right content and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I want to thank everyone who tuned in. Sorry for the technical difficulties that we had in the beginning of the lesson. Again, 1 minute we thought it was going to work and then it didn't work. And then we had to improvise. For my current students, this URL will not work next week, Wednesday, because now everyone has it. So I'm going to be sending out a new URL. So just check the Founders Content Center, the Kajabi. Once you check that, there's going to be a new URL in there. And that with that new URL, you'll be able to attend the session. So it won't be 200 people next week. So just letting y'all know that. This URL, we're going to throw it out because the whole universe, over 30,000 people, has access to this URL. Lastly, again, when we're in the Founders Content Center, you have your library, you have your 6-week program, your bonuses, and you have your replay session. So this lesson is going to drop into the replay. For those of you that are in VIP, you also have this VIP where you can schedule your calls with myself. Once you're in the program itself, you know, again, it's a lot of content. It's a lot of work that you're going through, but that's how we do it in the program. But you're just going to go to Access Weekly Calls, and that new URL will be there. So again, I won't click on it because I have another URL in there. So next week, Wednesday, just make sure you get the updated URL. We're going to create that and try to put it up by tomorrow morning as well. So again, I want to thank everyone for attending. I truly, 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 truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, life, evening, morning, afternoon, whatever part of the world you are currently in, to attending. But you all have taken the step in saying, okay, I want to, you know, be better as a business owner, as a business founder. So you've already done the hardest part, right? And you're continuously learning. And that's what this is about. We're all learning, right? Like I'm learning, like I'm in a bunch of different other people's classes and just learning from day to day from experience as well. And so it's always about growing. It's always about moving forward in our business and also in our own personal development as well. So thank you all for joining this call tonight. I know I went fast. I know I covered a lot of ground, but I was trying to make sure that I could provide value to as many people as possible because you showed up here live and you took time out of your schedule as well. Nicole, my team, Brooke, Jasmine, thank you all for jumping on here. And current students, founders, thank you all for sharing our space with so many other different business founders as well. And yeah, man, your boy tired. I'm about to go make some dinner or something. But thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your night. And I will see you all. Awesome. Oh, I got to get y'all on the gram. I forgot. Got to get y'all on the gram. Let me save this story. Okay. Instagram right here. We deep. Rolling squad deep out here. Hey, look at all these different people. Awesome. All right, y'all all have a great rest of your night, and I will see you all.